I read somewhere that you started out as a journalist at the Volksblad. I'm obviously also a journalist, so I'm very interested in that. Is there a reason why you've never cast a journalist as your main protagonist?
I've considered it many times. The problem is that being a journalist has changed so much since my days long ago that it will take a lot of research to really get it right.
Yeah.
Because the whole idea is that, you know, if you are going to give a specific job to your protagonist, that you really know what you're talking about. So if I wrote such a book, I would like journalists to read it and say, yes, this is...
That's correct.
Yeah. And I've been working with the police now for so long, and the whole role of the policeman as the representative of law and order is such a strong one, but you never know. So yes, I have considered it, but I just haven't found the right story.
Especially now with media tribunal and things like that, it could get a bit complicated to get into all of that.
It's an interesting notion, you know, the journalist is the objective party between the two poles of right and wrong. It's an interesting one, but I just haven't found the right story.
Maybe someday.
Yeah.
Your books are very visual, and we obviously know that some of the film rights have been sold. Is it strange for you to see your characters alive on screen, not just on paper?
The first time was very strange, because when I write, I have a very strong visual picture of the character, and you live inside the character's head. So to see an interpretation of that character for the first time was very strange. But the actor Neil Sandilands was so brilliant that he became that character to me. And I think subsequently it became easier. And you realize that there's a process, there's a creative process that this character has to go through via the director of the movie or the TV show and the actor, etc., that will make the changes. And as long as it's a good portrayal, then I'm quite comfortable.
Okay. Do you work closely, obviously, with the director and the actors when you're doing...
No. When I write and I'm not involved further, then you have to leave it to their creativity. If you start meddling, you're going to make it very difficult for them. You have to make peace with the fact that they are going to try and make the best movie or TV series that they can, and it's always going to be difficult to stay true to the book. But if they stay true to the spirit of the book and the spirit of the character itself, then
okay, talking about TV series, you wrote Transitu, especially for Kyk-Net, and obviously we recently saw the last Tango on the big screen. Is this process very different from writing a novel?
Yes, it is, because on the screen you can only use action and dialogue to take the story forward. You can't live inside the character's head. In a novel, you can speculate as much as you want. You can give the thoughts of the character, but in a movie you can't. So it's an entirely different way of writing. The other big thing is that in a book you can create as big a scene as you want, and it doesn't cost you anything. If you have to go shoot a movie where there are 10,000 people in it, it's going to cost you a hell of a lot. In South Africa, we just don't have the budget for that kind of movie. So you do keep those things into account when you write a script.
Talking about actors, we've heard Channel 24 reported that Sean Bean is linked to playing Benny Friesel. I don't know if it's a secret. And
no, it's not a secret.
Is it?
He's very much tied to the project, but you know, it might change and it might not. That's the nature of the beast. Production companies tie a producer, a director, and a star to a project, and then they go in search of financing for the project. Sean Bean is still attached to the project, so he might well end up.
Okay, that's exciting. If there are any other international actors that you would want to work with?
Oh, there are so many. Russell Crowe is just one of my all-time favorite actors. I think he's brilliant. Sean Penn, I think, would make a fantastic Benny Friesel too. The list goes on.
Yeah, it's a very long list. I've heard that you translate a lot of your Afrikaans books into English. Is this true? Or?
I don't do the translation myself. I have a brilliant translator, Laura Segers. She does the translation, and then she and I argue about the translation, which is a wonderful process. But no, I don't do the translation myself.
Okay, because I was going to ask, is it difficult for, if there's an Afrikaans character, obviously in South Africa, Afrikaans people and English people aren't always the same. Are they bilingual people? Do they differ? I mean, is it easy to just...
I think what Laura does so brilliantly is she keeps the texture of Afrikaans if it's an Afrikaans-speaking character. She will retain certain Afrikaans words in the process. and I think she's really good with it. So I don't think there's much that gets lost in translation.
Okay, so I've heard you're a motorcycle fanatic. Did that at all inspire some of the logistical aspects of Proteus or Heart of a Hunter? Did it?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I'm a firm believer that one should write where your passions are, and motorcycling is a passion for me. And it was because I enjoy motorcycling so intensely that I wanted to share that passion and use that as a vehicle, if you'll excuse the pun, to write Heart of the Hunter. And it was so much fun doing it.
So it's fun for you to use your hobbies and your interests to inspire your work?
Yeah, not always. You know, a lot of my books are about stuff that I didn't know anything about when I set out to plan the story. But then I go do research, and I love doing the research. I love learning new things. And then you become passionate about that new thing. So I think I've sort of covered most of my passions now, and then you have to go and find new stuff.
New ones.
Yeah.
So you've got a new book coming out, Cobra. Is that right?
Yes.
When is it? When can we expect it? What's it about? Just tell me a little bit more.
It's a Benny Griessel story. It's the book starts off with a killing in a guest house on a wine farm near Franschhoek. 2 bodyguards are killed very professionally, and also one of the hospitality workers at the guest house. And Benny Griessel is the man that has to investigate the case. And then they find the shell casings, and there's an engraving of a cobra on the shell casings.
Okay.
And that's the big mystery. And from there, it just goes downhill.
Sounds exciting. Did you also have to do a lot of research for that? Also work with police?
Yes, I did. I'm very fortunate in that the Hawks, the Directorate of Priority Crime Investigations, has been very generous. But I also had to do a lot of other research. Some of the book happens on the metro rail trains, so I had to do a lot of train riding and a lot of research there as well.
Okay. So out of all your projects that you've got going on and things in the future, what are you most excited about at the moment?
I think Cobra, I mean, I've just finished the book last week. I'm actually now doing the final editing. And I'm really excited. You know, it's such a relief to finish a new book. I hope to start next week with a new screenplay, a new movie that I want to direct next year. There are some other movie projects. And then I want to start a new book. I've got an idea that I'm very excited about for a new book. It's something different to my usual fare, and I can't wait to get stuck into that too.
I can't wait either. I'm very excited. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's
Thank
been a
you.
great pleasure.
Thanks.